Welcome back to Tight Lining, Maryland. I am in PA again. I was there last week fishing Muddy Creek and had some success there. I also fished the Cadorus and had a little bit of success there. But today I am out, probably gonna fish Spring Creek today, which is a new stream to me. I fished it once before, but only briefly. And today I think I'm gonna kind of fully immerse myself. To start though, I am at a different creek that I'm basically at a tributary of Kish Creek where I fished last time. I wanted to see if I could pull out a couple brown trout out of this stream, since it's going to be one that the water is going to be up, however not kind of brown or unfishable. It's actually probably good since it just rained. But last night there were some really heavy rains that basically washed out some of the streams that I otherwise would have fished, like Pens. I was really kind of hopeful to go to, but with the rain they got, their USGS is over 1,000 already, so there's just no way that's fishable this morning. So with that said, what I intend to do is I'll hit this stream, then I'll go to Pens and hopefully be able to put some fish in the net. So you just got to make adjustments. That's the key. Luckily I was smart enough to look at the USGS, and that helped to give me an idea. But I was really excited due to the fact that last night when we were driving in to where we're staying right off of Middle Creek, it sounded like it was raining, but it was actually just a really heavy hatch, and I've never experienced that before. The car was completely covered. It was about 8 o'clock at night, and that hatch was coming off strong, and there was a lot of fly fishermen taking advantage of it. I was only able to get out for about 20 minutes of it, and with that said, I hooked into one but did not land him, and didn't even take my camera out because I was just rushing to get on the stream. So today I have a good chunk of time before we kind of do a Mother's Day dinner and spend some time with the family. But for this morning I am starting at a Class A stream not far from Kish, and then I'm going to head up to Spring Creek. So thank you guys for tuning back in, and hopefully we have a good video for you. Alright guys, I am on a Class A wild stream in PA, tiny little stream. It is not necessarily a producer of huge fish, but I have a nice fish on, and he is trying to run me into everything. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a beautiful brown trout out of this precious little Class A stream. Look at that. Woo! What a fish. He took a hare's ear that is already out of his mouth. As usual with barbless hooks, they come out quick. Let me get both hands wet here. This is by far my biggest fish out of this stream. I've definitely caught fish here. I've been skunked here. It's a tough stream to fish, tight stream. It's really only about 10 feet wide, but this is about as good as it's gonna get here today on this stream. I mean, that is a nice 10-12 inch fish. What's cool about all these fish in this stream is they get these nice white tips on these brown trout. So his fish is healthy, he's got a fat belly, and we're gonna get him back in there since he was nice enough to come out for the camera. There we go. That is why you turn around on the highway. I was on my way to Spring Creek, and something in me just said turn around, and I did, and that fish rewarded me. Very happy that I stopped. That is exactly why I'm here. So again, the importance of being flexible. The idea of, I had a plan in mind. That plan got shot when it rained last night. The rain literally woke me up in the middle of the night. So I'm out here tight line nymphing. I started with a streamer. I thought I saw a nice brown trout, kind of go after it, and wasn't sure, but figured if I maybe started nymphing that I'd have a little bit more luck, and didn't take many drifts to get my best fish out of this creek, and that's by a long shot. So my setup here today, just so you can kind of take a peek, is a hare's ear, which is what he just took. I tied that. Simple pattern. And then on top I have a Lively Legs pheasant tail that is getting wrapped a little bit. Got to keep straightening this thing out, but nevertheless, great start to the day. I'm going to turn off the camera and wait for our next fish, but wow, that's why we're here. All right, guys, got my second fish out of this nice little creek. It's a decent fish again. You know, nothing huge, but these fish are always pretty. They get a nice gold hue. They just get a different look. I don't know what it is. And definitely some of the brightest yellow fins you will ever see, but they get nice black spots. They get red tails, as you might be able to see right there. You know, so just a unique fish. That's why I like this stream. It is definitely good to be on the stream today. That's 2 brown trout. All right, got another one net. All taking this hare's ear. Another good looking brown trout. Ooh, guys, this is a nice one. Nice fish. Stay on. Keep that rod pressure low. I thought he'd be in there. Oh, and we got another great fish to net. That's how we do it, boys. Love it. Love it when a plan comes together. All right, another one for this hare's ear. Alright guys, so as I mentioned before, it's nothing more satisfying or gratifying when a plan comes together. So I started out on a creek that was kind of blown out. I decided I gotta go find smaller water, and I have. So far I think I'm up to 4 fish, 2 of which would be my best fish in this creek. You know, I looked at the composition of the stream, even though I fished it before, and basically said to myself, you know, this is a stream that, even though right now I'm not seeing a ton of bug life, you can see the grasses, a lot of greens in the water. It kind of is like a spring creek basically, which is exactly where I'm headed to, the actual spring creek later. But nevertheless, I decided a hare's ear would be good, or a crest bug, something that imitates that. In terms of the water I was looking for, you know, this is not a deep stream at all. I am not even ankle deep. If I got out here, I'd be shin deep at best. But, you know, off of this rock right here where I caught that last fish, it's a perfect lie for a fish when that water's up, because they get the protection of that rock, so they can sit in this soft little pocket or this seam. So I knew that I had to get a drift in there, and sure enough, bam, take right in that hole. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if there's another one laying back in here somewhere. I think there's probably going to be one up here or behind that rock right up there. You know, there's a couple other spots I'm going to hit while I'm on this stream before I get out of here for good and head up to Spring Creek. But what a great start to the day. You know, making an adjustment on the fly and it just paying off, because I literally was on the highway and I turned around right before I got too deep and pulled right back into this creek. So let's see how the rest of this day goes. All right, a little bit smaller this time, but a fish, so we'll take it. Makes you appreciate some of those nicer ones you got into earlier, that's for sure. So, still hitting these hare's ears readily. Get him back. Get a older, wiser, bigger sibling. All right, this is part 2 of my Saturday adventure. I started earlier today on a tributary of Kish Creek. I felt like I had a great day there. I caught 5 fish, missed 1 or 2. Luckily not on, the fight, but more so on the hook set. And now I'm at Spring Creek, and Spring Creek is well known in PA as being arguably one of the best streams in the state. And I've only fished it once before briefly with a buddy of mine, and I had no luck. I was still very, very inexperienced, but the conditions were prime that day, so there's really no excuse back then. But that's been about 2 years ago. So I'm back out on Spring Creek because of all the rain that I mentioned, probably either in earlier this video or, if I post them separately, the previous video. But I'm out on Spring, and typically they talk about kind of the green water that you see here, and instead I've got chocolate milk. The water is up. It's going to be tough fishing. Honestly, the water was better at the last creek. I probably should have considered staying there. That's kind of a mental note for me next time, but I figured Spring Creek usually stays low, doesn't peak all too often, and I thought maybe there's a chance I got a little less rain here. So nevertheless, I'm here. I'm going to give it a shot. I got to get down deep. I am definitely going to have to extend my leader system, probably use a split shot, definitely some of my heavier flies, tungsten beads, for sure, to get these things down, because these fish, they're going to be tough to get. They're going to be wanting to lay low out of the current seams because the water's up. So today I'm going to have to employ a little bit different tactics than what I usually would, but it's going to be good to, again, stretch my limits, get out there and try something different and fish a stream that, I have to get a little bit of redemption on because I did not do well last time. So hopefully I get 1 or more Spring Creek trout here today. Alright guys, I have got my first Spring Creek brown trout, and he is in the net, and I'm feeling good, vindicated. Good fish, not a great fish, but a good fish. Right through the top. He is on the lively legs pheasant tail. Alright, so my first Spring Creek brown trout. Good stuff. Not a great fish again, but maybe 9-10 inches. Yeah, about 10. Good fish. Get that release. And there he goes. We'll take it. That is why we drove here again. Adjusted a plan, made it happen. You gotta like it. So, in terms of the fish I just caught, that fish, I kind of strategically figured out where I figured he would be given the current conditions. Again, we're in a chocolate milk stream. Luckily, it's not running like raging, or, the water is not just like pushing us downstream, but it is not necessarily the best conditions, especially for here. So here's what I noticed. I have up top here this rock that creates kind of a nice little, riffle into this run, and it kind of pulls out below me. But when water is higher than usual and running faster than usual, fish, specifically trout, will start to push to the outside. So like where I'm at right now in the center of this creek, usually I'd probably, want to fish this. However, today I made a cast up by this tree, ran it through, and sure enough, he hit. So here's what I also would like to do. I have the first bug that I've caught today, what I again believe is a sulfur. Hopefully you can see that right there on my finger, but these have been hatching in earnest and just coming off. And these fish, if it were not this colored water, would probably be feeding on top, but instead they're going to be feeding down below more than likely. So we're going to try to rip another brown trout out of here, but I am ecstatic to have gotten my first Spring Creek, not only tree right there, but my first Spring Creek brown trout. That is something that I worked hard for and thought about, so the process paid off for the outcome. All right, I got another Spring Creek brown trout, tiny one compared to the last one especially. You know, healthy, fat little fish, but nevertheless, second fish of the day, so we'll take it. There he goes. So that fish was laying behind these rocks in the slower current right about there. You know, in that seam, he decided to pick up one of the nymphs. I don't know which one because the hook came off before I could even get him in the net. Well, excuse me, right after I got him in the net. So, try to get another one. I know that one wasn't on camera, but we'll see what we can do. The better fish of the day. Oh, and we got him. Ooh, that is a pretty fish. That is a pretty fish. Long and thin for this one. All right, so I've got a Spring Creek brown, best one of the day, close to 11 inches. Let's get him released. So that's going to wrap it up here at Spring Creek. I am happy to say that it was a successful day. I think on the day I got about 9 or 10 total between two streams. With the water, you know, being high, with it being off color, with it being just a lot of different things, you know, I felt that was a widely successful day. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the, you know, fish that I caught. Hopefully, you know, you can also take away a tip or two that I brought up about, you know, things related to watercolor, where they may sit, you know, what was I looking for, stuff like that. You know, hopefully throughout the summer I can start to get a little bit better about passing along the information that I'm thinking about while I fish, or after one is caught, you know, what that process kind of was, and how I ended up catching that fish. So again, I appreciate all the people that have been watching, and hopefully some good content still to come this summer now that I am done coaching and soon will be done teaching.